So last week we started with this question, actually, that somebody that was doing a Facebook interview got for real, which is how would you, first of all, is it a good idea for Facebook to get into the travel business? And then if so, design a product for it. So the first part of this question, we analyzed it and decided that, yeah, it's a good idea. There's a fit with Facebook in terms of like, provide using that information that they have about personalized information about people in order to provide recommendations. And just to sum it up quickly, what we ended up thinking about is that, the most important question is like, where should Facebook play in the value chain of the travel, and then how should it play? And we basically arrived to this, functionally, what this meant is, in this sort of value chain, you have 3 steps, which is, here's the booking, and the idea, the space was the online. It could be online booking, of airline tickets, or it could be, online booking of tourist packages. It could also be, local activities in the location where people go. So, these activities that are related basically to, booking, and then what you're going to do once you're there, right? And some people also would like some tourist packages. So, and then there's a pre-booking part, which is like, okay, how do people actually, choose? How do they? What are the choices? Right? Selection of choices. And at the end, there's the after booking, which could be, during the experience. And here it would be more like, that would be more related to, data collection, basically more marketing activity, right? I mean, data collection of the people. It could be also customer service while they are in the location, etc. So this is sort of like the functional picture of it, and we sort of decided that Facebook could be in the 3 things, and in the short term, Facebook probably has a very strong play here in the short term, and in the long term, they can get that, they can partner in the short term with agencies, travel agencies and whatnot, because they already have the system that integrates with the booking systems of airlines and booking systems of agents, tourist agents. But in the long term, they can also get into this business once they sort of integrate the systems within Facebook in order to do the booking themselves, integrate with the travel, the ticket systems and buying. So what we would like to discuss today is, okay, so we sort of have this idea, right, that there's a business in here. Now, what should be the product? What is the Facebook product to do this? So do you guys have questions about this? Is there something that is not clear?
Melinda, I was going to ask a question. Value chain is a great way to kind of evaluate where the company could play. Mm-hmm. As we are thinking about product strategy, do you think it's a similar tool to like customer journey, or when to use value chain, or when to use customer journey to come up with like where the company should play with the next product?
Yeah, I think in this particular case, because it's an industry, right? It's a very high level way of looking at it. it's not narrow, right? So you have to look at it from the functional point of view. Whereas the customer journey, I would use the customer journey once you decided to build a product, right? Mm-hmm. Now you have to put yourself in the shoes of the customer and think, what are the different steps that the customer takes in order to get the job done that they want to get done, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I think that the customer journey is great when you are doing the low-level product design, but when it comes to actually saying, am I going to enter this market or not, then having the value chain picture is better.
Right? Makes sense. I think it makes sense.
Any other question? All right. So let's move into like designing the product here. Okay. So Facebook travel picture. So as usual, we're going to start with, the users, right? So we're going to start with the users. Then we're going to go into use cases, to figure out what are the pain points. And then we're going to, there are too many use cases we might prioritize. Then we are going to start brainstorming on solutions. If we have time, we can do a wireframe. That's not always nice. And then summary. And when you're in the interview, because you have like a limited time, you have to take that into consideration, right? And be as expansive as you can, but also, look at the time, because you can stay in one thing for a long time. That happens to me. Okay, do you guys agree with this?
Makes sense.
All right. So let's start with the users, and this is the most important part. And let's just throw out there, what kinds of users you think, what kind of users we all think, and then maybe we can synthesize. So any thoughts on that? Which users?
I think last week we talked about ignoring the enterprise customers, right?
Yeah, I think that for Facebook, that would entail actually integrating with the enterprises systems, which is not a bad idea. But that I think that would be more complicated, and I think I would stay away from it until I tested this with actual, with customers for which we have a lot of data.
We talked about the two user groups that travel more, which would be young folks and retired folks.
So, I was thinking about, the best way to actually differentiate between these users, right? And in what way we should differentiate them, right? It has to be in a way such that, the personalization, that we can take advantage of Facebook information, Facebook data on their friends and on people on the network and what they do, such that we meet their main objective, right?
I think I would look for folks that are more active or more adventure seeking, perhaps, as a subcategory. And are we not considering any segment of users with families, young kids or otherwise? That also can broaden, what kind of activities you might suggest for the users.
that seems good. It seems a little bit, usually when we're trying to think about these uses, we're trying to think of sort of like mutually exclusive ones, right? And so I was thinking of a partition like, using this, but partition it into, actually, let me put that here, into vacationers, people that actually go on vacation like at least once a year or twice a year, right? And so they on purpose want to look for somewhere to go, right? Then you have, when we think about young, in vacationers, of course, we will have here the I would say, like professional type, professionals, and maybe, although everybody's a professional. Let me put this, I actually also put it here, couples that vacation together. It could be also, single people. And here, retirees, like you mentioned before. I was also thinking, also families, right? So now I put these retirees families all in under vacationers, and then we can also have students. We particularly have like breaks where they intentionally go on vacation, right? We also have. I was thinking of the leisure people. They combine basically their business trip with some activity for vacation. And then I would have here, these are sort of like this is sort of like the consumers. But we also have businesses, right? I would say here you can have the agents, and whatnot, right? The travel aggregators. Basically, here is sort of like the demand side, and I'm here putting here the supply side. So the reason why I was thinking about this is because when it comes to these users, if you think about what they care, right? All of them, I think, anybody that goes on a trip, and I was thinking, on vacation or actually the focus here is on vacation, right? I mean, we're assuming that all these people are going out for pleasure, right? As opposed to, visiting a family because they have to, or, for other reasons. So that's sort of like a basic assumption that I'm making here, that these are the best sort of use case, the people that go on vacation to target. Because that seems to be about 50% actually of the people that travel because of vacation. And so when I was thinking about this, is the reason people go on vacation, what is their expectation? They want to have a memorable experience, right? All of them. But each of them have certain requirements to what to them means memorable, right? So I was thinking that, for example, for couples, right, or vacation or seeing for couples, it might mean going in and having the right setting, the right setting, the right mood, like is they want to be relaxed, or maybe they want to be adventurous, or they want to be artistic. For retirees, I think they will be more worried about being able to manage the trip, like the main concern, right? Because they're not as agile, right? So the things that they want to do has to be appropriate for what they can do physically. Families, the concern probably is going to be their child security, right? Child safety. For single people, probably is going to be, you know, I don't know, people that travel and they're single, maybe meeting others. What are your thoughts on this way of thinking?
I think that a double win for the families would be something that could be enjoyable both for the children and for the adults. So something where they can still have supervision of their kids, but enjoy something that's more fun for adults.
Both. You know, for students, because they haven't traveled that much, maybe it's like, you know, the priority is like go to new places and in groups. For the leisure one, what do you think? The person that goes on a trip for business, but wants to like prolong it a little bit to take some days off. Any thoughts on that? So I was thinking for them is like local activities. Like what can they do that is around? And then for businesses, you know, it's advertising basically, right? Or marketing. Marketing, you know, getting data. Is there a different way to see this? We can do another segmentation. Do you think?
I think we are thinking again, coming here. If you be Facebook and want to enter into can you hear me?
Yeah, Kalian.
Yeah, I was thinking, we are thinking about or approaching this problem more traditional way of how someone would go look at the travel. I think the ideas that we are looking at, you know, what motivates someone to go travel, I think is good. But I would, if I were to Facebook and want to enter this segment, I would look at leveraging really the social network that I have a lot more strongly. Let's say today, Facebook, most of the people would post their pictures during their journey or after the journey as completed. There is no opportunity for the friends in the circle that they have to recommend, hey, while you're there, go check out this other place, or, oh, I'm also happen to be in the same place, come, let's go do something together, or those kind of things. I would look at this when we enter this market. Let's say Facebook were to do this, I would enter it in a different way where I would post it as a
Sorry, Kalian, you went away. Hey, Kalian,
split
we couldn't hear you. We couldn't hear you.
Can you hear?
Kalian?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Now, yes. The connection is really bad. All right, maybe you can write it. What you suggest as user types. Anyways, okay. So let's wait for him to write down that. So, but here is just a part of identifying who the users are. And I think that Kanya has a very good point. And I think that will be part of the solution once we start thinking about what each of these people need. I mean, the important thing is to, all of these are people that are on Facebook and are users of Facebook. All right, so, I mean, do you guys have any other input on this? Do you think there's a different way of seeing it? These users?
I think maybe just a broad statement, and maybe it goes a little bit to what Kellyanne is saying, is I have preferences that are more specific to me than my segment.
Mm-hmm.
Certain things that I really might like about travel that are more unique to me. So just keeping that in mind, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But where are you? What type of person are you? Are you somebody that vacations a lot?
I'm actually a strange one because I like to stay longer because I prefer to kind of sink into a location. Like I've gone to Buenos Aires for tango,
mm-hmm.
and so you go for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and you get a taste of living there.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so that would be, you would be single here. Are you single?
Yep. Well, I was then.
Okay, so it's single and you're interested in, meeting others and in real experience.
In a group and doing a common activity as well.
Focus experience, right? Yeah, right. Okay, so I think that, the problem with these users is that if we get into the weeds, we cannot create something that is exactly for everybody. But let's start to dig in and we look at the use cases. And I think, Ellie, when we look at the use cases, we can, enter that use case in particular, right, for the single person. So let's say that we're going to start writing the use cases. Okay, so let's start with the single. And say, okay, in the interview, you have to sort of prioritize, what kind of user you're going to tackle, right? And so how would you prioritize which of these users would you tackle first? Or do you think that, that is your primary user? Any thoughts?
I think definitely we can come up with a couple criteria. One, users who might be heavy users of Facebook platform already could be a criteria to kind of offer the new service or feature. Or if you want to enter a new market, let's say the growing aging population. So I think it will go back to a little bit of goal is, do we want to increase more engagement or do we want more new users for the platform? So maybe you can ask
because it's a new feature, you want to, increase
engagement.
You want to onboard as many people as possible. So your criteria, heavy users of Facebook. So who are heavy users of Facebook? I think heavy users of Facebook are couples, single, not retirees, right? Families, yeah, as well, right? Young families, I would imagine. Students, right? I mean, this overlaps, right? People that travel for business and leisure. So all these are like, because of their age, are users of Facebook. So I guess, if we tackle one, maybe the design will come up to be able to be shareable between, these. Well, definitely couples and singles will have something in common. Students may be a little bit different, and the pleasures may be a little bit different. But I think in terms of people that travel, just for vacation and focus on vacation, there are probably more of them than the people that combine pleasure and business. What do you think?
Agreed.
Agree.
Okay, so I think students definitely are good, right? And couples and singles and families. So let's start with the interesting case of the single person. And I think that we need to come up with a statement of, well, we're looking here at use cases, but let's list a use case. Okay, so one use case that Ellie was saying is, they want to. How would you describe, Ellie, your use case?
I guess deepen your experience in one location. So within and gain new social connections, meet new people.
In social connections. Okay. Deepen your experience and gain social connections. So that would be, okay. So basically, you want to select a place where, deepen your experience. By that, what does that exactly mean?
I guess for me, I feel like often as a tourist, you're sort of shuttled between tourist locations, where this might be more like going to cafes and living as a local would in a really wonderful place, in a really wonderful, for example, a city.
Okay, that's really interesting. Living like a local. All right. That's a use case for the single person. Okay. Let's do the couples. Is a single. Is there another use case for the single?
I mean,
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'll put myself on mute.
Okay, I was going to get an example of the example I took earlier. Let's say adventure-seeking person. So they are, and let's say this person is like surfing. So he or she is probably looking for the next best kind of surfing location. So discover places for your interest.
Adventure. And it could not be only adventure, it could be anything, right?
It could be anything, yeah, like next best location for.
It might be the artistic type, or you may be the foodie.
The best place to watch sunrise or sunset, as simple as that.
Foodie type, artistic type, mood type, sunrise type, whatever, right? There could be many things here. So looking for adventure or anything else. And you said something else, Aparna?
No, that was it.
Okay. Very good. Another case?
I was going to say
dining in restaurants.
Is that a use case for traveling?
Specialty places that are.
Hey, Kalyan, it's not, I'm sorry, it's the connection's really bad. Maybe you can write it, Kalyan. Bhumi, what you were saying? What were you saying, Bhumi?
I was going to say singles are more likely to travel alone. So if you're not someone who's very great at planning, you already want someone to do the planning for you. So you're looking to go on holiday with where someone else has already done everything, and you pretty much just sort of pick up their whole journey plan. I don't know how to put it in a more structured way, but I mean, if say for example, a celebrity's gone to a place and they said the same things they've done, I just want to be able to do all of that.
I see. So, basically, sort of like, I will put it like, I would like to like redo or leverage.
Or have a pre-planned holiday or package or something.
No, but you're saying something else. You're saying, look, I saw somebody doing this, I want to do that. What you're saying is, I want to, do the same as another traveler. Right? That had excellent experience, of course, right?
Yeah.
You save planning, effort. Right?
And then I also like to travel alone, so there's that. I don't know if that's a use case here.
Yeah.
We're talking about single use case for singles that they travel alone.
Yeah, single. We assume that they're okay. That's pretty good. All right, so I think we have 3 cases here. Let's go through, the couples. Okay.
Oh, Kalyan did. He commented. He said, "I was saying someone may be interested in experiencing truly local / authentic local food."
Okay. Foodies. I think I would put that here under foodie. People that really, are like, what do you call those people? There's a perfect word for that. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Actually, Peru, where I'm from, is very famous for its food. So I read it in The Economist. It's like capital #1 in the world where people that are really into food go to eat. So if you go to Lima, don't forget to eat. Best food in the world. All right. Let's go into couples. All right. So for me, I think that, if you're with somebody, I think that you want to make sure their sure place provides the right, the right mood, the right ambience. When I travel, I think, I don't know if with your partners or you may want to go together to, Italy and have wine, and that's more relaxing than, for example, go to Machu Picchu in Peru and hike and all the stuff, right? So I think that for me, that would be something. It's like I want to go to a place where it's the right mood, the right ambience for what we want to do. What else? All right, how about families? What do they worry about when they travel?
So, sorry, can I just go back to couples? Because I'm thinking, as a couple, like, as a couple, most couples are either they just got married, so they're looking for romantic things to do. So that could be a use case, perhaps a honeymoon or something like that.
Yeah. Families. Any thoughts on this? They probably want the children to be entertained, right? So they don't bother them. So I would say one concern would be, to find plays and activities that their children, would like. And that is also safe.
They also want children-friendly hotels. So hotels that cater to children. That's a special need for families.
What else? All right, so we have a lot here. And I haven't even put students here. So students, what do they want?
Sorry, before we jump into students, I was going to mention for family, they're also looking for good babysitters. So recommended babysitters in wherever you go to on holiday. That's safety, so.
Nurse. Services. Okay. How about students?
Budget travel.
I see. Budget, yeah. Budget, and they also want to go in new places, new, exciting place, and doing, with friends. All right. Okay.
They want to explore more places. So they're looking to explore more countries or cities, again, under budget. Because I'm thinking most students are backpacking, so. And for them, being able to have a very local experience is important. I mean, well, that's how I was as a student. So.
Okay, we have a lot here. All right, so let's say that, let's look at here at the type of user where we think we can leverage Facebook, social graph and social data in order to provide a unique product, unique solution, right? So I think that in that case, what are your thoughts?
I would say if we're going to prioritize, I would focus on families.
Why?
Just because I feel like with Facebook has sort of evolved from when they started. So they started at an era where it was about universities, and those who were in universities have now become family or couples, and they've moved from couples to being families. So it's sort of a stage where most people eventually get to. And if you focus on that, you know, you're covering a very broad spectrum, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Criteria is like.
And I think it's a good target audience for them. I would say there are a lot of people who have kids or are married or something like that on Facebook, and that bracket.
Any other thoughts?
Although I think it's a good point, but my counterpoint to that would be, I wonder if it's like the phase of life we are in. So because we become families, we start seeing, and our people around us and friends are also families. So we are probably in the bubble of families, but there might be a whole kind of separate experience for singles who are on the platform. They might be seeing more of stuff that they resonate with, or similar friends or similar age group. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm curious if families is truly a big group or whether it's just what we are seeing.
I mean, most of the people I speak to who are a lot younger, they're students or single, don't even have Facebook accounts. They mostly have Instagram or Snapchat.
Mm-hmm.
So Facebook has kind of evolved into more people who've used it in the past still have that account, and most of them are now families. And I'm also thinking, even if we think of families go in a broader spectrum, right? So you could have older kids, you could have younger kids. It could be us actually taking our parents on holiday. That's still a family. Mm-hmm. It's just a really broad spectrum. So if we focus on that, there's more value to be added to Facebook's travel feature. Just a thought.
Yeah, I think it's still, I agree. I think the market size for family, or the user size for families, is definitely much bigger than singles for this platform.
I was just wondering, in terms of economics, who has more money in travel?
Probably families, but they're not going to transact on Facebook on short term. So I think like who has more propensity for spending more time on Facebook, hence more kind of affect their key metric. But yeah, I think families with kids' photos and are definitely more active.
Yeah, definitely families put a lot of photos of their kids.
Yeah,
I was going to say
photos,
that.
A lot of travel photos.
It's sort of like,
The one point that I have though is, look, having a family costs a lot of money, right? It's about probably adding at least, babies between that can travel between 4 or 7. They probably each of them cost maybe $10,000 a year, right?
Yeah, definitely like limited budget and restricted in the type of places they can travel to.
Yeah, so my thinking is families, very rich families can travel. But, I think that middle class, the way the economy is, they're saving that money. Mm. And and they need actually more nursing. I mean, that's my gut feeling. Also from my friends. And the people that actually have money to travel are the single people that have those posh jobs, and they don't have kids, right? So they're spending. And they're traveling with their friends,
Or couples with posh jobs. I mean, basically, like, I feel like they kind of would they fall in a similar bucket as like just two people who don't have any kind of child responsibilities yet.
Yeah, I think when you're single, you spend more.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because as a couple, you just got married and your wedding is probably expensive. So you're thinking of saving for your house and stuff, and the kids.
So I have my doubts that families travel more than singles.
I mean, you may be right, but then I'm also thinking most times families want to, especially families that have kids at secondary school, they want to kind of create an experience for their kids during the summer holiday. So most times they do want to take them away. So if you can create a package where it's within budget, they will go on that. Or if someone else has done the same thing, they're most likely going to do that. And with family, I feel like there's a lot of features or a lot of things you can sell to them.
Definitely, if we're going to do a travel feature, it has to meet these families, and it also has to meet singles. So you cannot just do away with the other. What are your thoughts?
I agree with you. I think those two work.
So let's start with families, and then we'll go with singles. How about that? Sounds reasonable?
Yeah.
All right. All right. So we have use cases. And now you guys, you're gonna start brainstorming for solutions. Right. So I'm going to label this number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, families 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, and I think students we're not gonna do students. Let's just do families and single. All right, just as a way to start thinking about prioritizing use cases, is there a use case here that you think is maybe not that common? That we can discard?
Honeymoon seems kind of specific.
Which one?
Honeymoon.
Yeah, but that's a big one though.
Yeah.
Well, let's say that we're going to start designing something that might meet, all of these cases. Why don't we start with that? I think there's some commonalities here. Deep in the experience and looking for, these different things to do, adventure, artist, foodie, mood, spring, right? We can say that living like a local, maybe it's part of this, right? It's another way that you define your objective when you travel, right? So when I travel, or the experience that I want to have, right? So the experience I want to have when I travel is to live like a local, or my experience the experience I want to have is adventure, be an adventurist, or be more artistic, or a foodie, or just very relaxed, go to see the sunrise, very relaxed, right? So these two are very similar. And of course, gain social connections, right? So if we look at the feature, right, the first thing that needs to happen is, and this is what we're going to use the customer journey Arpana. So maybe we do the journey and say, okay, first of all, choose. Choose, place plus what to do. It's the first step, right? And then the next step is book. Next step is we're done, maybe experience. Experience your problem. So if we look at this stage, choose the place and activity. Let's think about the feature and what the solution looks like. How are we going to enable these people, okay, to choose the right, place, the right activities in order to meet these needs that they have of living like a local artist adventurous foodie? Thoughts?
Sorry, before we jump into that, I think a good user journey for any one of them would be the ability to be able to upload all their pictures, so to actually share the experience with friends on Facebook, because ultimately that's what Facebook is about, right? It's a community. So after you've done the experience, you can then, share the experience with people.
I see.
Just an idea.
Yep. Share. Right. Makes sense. All right. So I'm going to throw an idea out there. If you have more ideas, bring them on. So one idea that I had for this one was, all right, what I call this would be sort of like the mood-based selector. Okay? And what I mean by that is, we ask, to, and the steps that I'm thinking is choose your mood, the mood that you wanna experience. And it could be this, being an adventurer, being an artist, foodie, whatever. Choose your mood, and this could be photos. Like instead of like a photo, slider, it just like, or it shows you photos of people doing those things. Adventure, artist, foodie, whatever. And you select them. Choose your mood. Then after you choose your mood, choose a continent. After you choose your continent, basically display options. And these options could be, thumbnails, or could be immersive VR experiences. And I'm thinking that to choose these options, here is where the input from basically the social graph comes in. So everybody that wanted to have like the same mood, and went to the same continent, whatever, they ranked their experiences, and so we display to you the options that are the top ranked. Okay? And then these options, once you click on them, in the options selection, option detail, basically display sort of like, your if your friends went there, your friends description, and after that you can show everybody else's description. So that would be, to me, sort of like a way to use media and let them experience before they go, so that they are sure that they're going to have a great experience through VR. And that's going to make the selection easier. Any other ideas? That's just one. No thoughts?
I was thinking if I think would there be like additional filters, and I'm going back to Ali's point around like deepening experience and kind of experiencing it like a local. I wonder if we can achieve the same thing with like maybe additional, like you choose the mood is living like a local, you choose a continent. Are we suggesting options for like cities at this stage, or like points of interest?
Yeah, like I was thinking that, for example, if my mood is, like I see a picture, they show me a photo of wine. They show me a photo of wine in Tuscany. Okay. Yeah, I am that person. All right, I love that. So maybe they say, okay, choose your continent, Europe, or I can even choose the country, right? And then display the option. Then I would like to see basically all, and of course, on the supply side, they need to have just the same way Airbnb does, right? All the local suppliers, right? The local providers of activities. And basically they rank them, right? And then I can choose one.
And maybe like, yeah, you did. And I think because there'll be a lot of options, the way Facebook can provide me unique values, like ones that are visited most frequently by my friends, or
yes. So, and not only that, but here also is they will have information about, history, what you visited your past, right? If it's in there. Some people have photos on Instagram where they went. So maybe that's put into the algorithm to display options, that are new, right? Or they may ask you, hey, you had a very good time. Maybe you want to go to the same places. Or
Sure. Makes sense.
So that's one idea. No ideas, you guys? How would you, if you were on Facebook and you want to choose where you want to go, what would you like to be presented?
I was gonna say, what if what we're doing is using an algorithm to determine the most popular places that people have been last year, and just have it based on set of interests that you perhaps have, and then we can suggest the same location and the same experience for the following year, knowing.
Can you repeat that?
So saying, what if what we're doing is using last year, like previous years, to recommend places people could go to this year, and it could be based on, so you put in how I'm feeling. So this year I want somewhere sunny where I can drink, and they're like, last year a lot of, I don't know, 90% of people went here and loved it. We can guarantee that you have a good experience. So it's more using historical data to determine.
Yeah. I sure. That's what I meant with the social graph.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Right, exactly what you're saying.
Keep quiet now.
No. I want more. Keep talking. Generate all.
No, I didn't hear the social graph thing, but that's a really cool idea. Cool.
How about one of the segment for us was the singles, or the for them budget may be a constraint. So typically when I look at travel, you end up picking, really don't have a choice other than, okay, you have a certain destinations in mind. You end up searching all the destinations and say, oh, is this within your planned budget that you want to spend on this vacation? But to me, if I were an individual, whether single or couple, whatever, and you have anywhere you want to go, but within this budget, and you want to look at all the available options, I would rather pick that number and say, show me all the available options with these characteristics, whether it's adventure, whether it's beach, whatever. And then I would want to see those destinations come up. I think that's more interesting to me than traditional travel agency or travel booking websites.
But you're saying look at all the options, but you need to rank on something, right?
Yeah, based on your interest about, hey, I would like to go to a beach. I would like to take a cruise. I would like to go to a sunny destination, anything, or I want to go skiing. You can pick those characteristics and then say, this is my target price I would want to spend, and then come up with all the destinations that you could suggest. I think that'll be a better option, at least for some segment of users.
Yeah. Okay, so based on activity, budget constraint, okay, and show all options. That sounds good. That's for the person that doesn't care where they're going.
Yeah, I know someone that basically every year ends up traveling to some really exotic place, and how he ends up finding is that he has this target and he just randomly picks a place that is on sale and just goes. So yeah, for him, that seems to work quite well.
It's very good. Right, this is good for the adventure person. They don't care where they go. All right. Very good. Any other ideas on this?
It seems like we're getting towards a mix of a couple of things that will nicely triangulate for people. They've got the patterns of past people, and then if you can sort of overlay that with different personas or moods, as you said, and then maybe overlay that as well with pictures from friends who've been close by or to those places. Probably just somewhere.
Very like here in the options, you're saying, Ellie, you can show also, your friends.
Yeah, it's a little tricky, but it seems like if you have some geolocated photos, you just be very clear about what they are, where they are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You probably want some machine learning about that too, so you can figure out a little bit about what the photo is about. Like, is it a landscape? Is it food?
That's very good. When we come with the mood, we're thinking here using machine learning to map photos to mood. That's idea.
And more just to sort of filter for quality. Actually, I think Yelp does that right now with their food photos. They promote photos that are high quality.
Cool. That's really cool. I was thinking here, somebody mentioned, someone wants to do whatever some other person did in the travel. So maybe there's a famous person, I think it was Bunny. So maybe another option is like choose based on what, Bunny? Based on, could be a famous person or your friend or who that you want to.
It could be an influencer, so it could be someone you admire their travel. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you knew, I'm trying to think of someone who travels a lot that I love. Yeah, Layla loves. And she says, oh, I've just been here and these are all the things I did. And I got to see this on Facebook story. So I felt part of her journey, but now I'm doing it as well. So it's sort of, awesome. I can imagine Yeah, I can imagine it will be like a partnership with Facebook, where Facebook probably sponsors your holiday, and then we can then sort of sell that as a package.
Yeah, that's cool. Any other ideas?
I was gonna say something before my computer died.
Yeah.
There's an app that I use right now called Holiday Pirates, and what they do is sort of like budget deals, but sometimes it's curated by people. So a lot of people are constantly, I do that, constantly looking out for deals. Maybe there's a like a flight sales or error. But imagine if I can't go, but I can share with people, and if someone else wants to go, it might be a good way to sort of create like a more engagement for Facebook and this new feature.
Like if you know somebody that would like to go, but you cannot. And
because I do that now with my friends, where I'm like, I can't go on this holiday, but if you want to, here you go. But then imagine if it's a feature you can do on Facebook, then that'll be cool. So it's like a wisdom of a crowd kind of thing. So a curated group of people who constantly find great deals and get to share it on Facebook.
So share a deal, share a trip, with someone. Does that mean though that maybe you can buy that trip for somebody else, but he spends money for somebody else? No way. Okay, share a trip with someone. Good. What else? So I was thinking that, you know, once they, let's say that once they enter into the page that shows a specific place, a specific activity, could be, you know, you have two choices, you know, and it depends on how long you're traveling. I'm thinking you can have two choices. They show you two options, two choices, depending on how many days you're traveling. Either a packet, like a day-to-day plan of activities. So let's say that I am going to Italy, to Tuscany, and I'm going for 7 days. And I really want to just experience the wine and the food and stuff like that, maybe bicycling and stuff. Maybe they show me a day-to-day activity of what I can do if I'm going 7 days. Or you can do a manual, you know, day-to-day selection of activities. And you know, so you can have different, you know, like a package type of deal, and then a manual type of deal, and then they basically at the end you have an itinerary of your stay. You know, it's like day 1 you do something, day 2 you do something else, and so on. So that sort of helps you planning your experience, of like feeling, you know, what you're going to do. And then, of course, it's the booking, right? The booking, this is part of this. Now, we didn't talk about, you know, once you're there, once you are in the place and you're experiencing, you know, the place and the conditions and the context of this, how can Facebook help you, you know, make this experience even better?
An idea might be sort of what TripAdvisor has, where a lot of people are sharing their experience, what's good and what's not bad. But then Facebook, having the resource they have, can actually curate that. So if you got a package from them, then we can say to you, these are what users have said are the great things to do, and these are the things that they've said avoid, or these are the things that are secure, the things that are not secure. But it's more curated as opposed to just having loads of comments and loads of people. More curated to your needs, sort of.
Maybe curated advice.
Advice, yeah.
From others.
Suggestion.
Related to your activities. I was thinking also another thing along those lines would be like your own Rick's book. You know what I'm saying? So once you know your itinerary, you can create Malena's book. What are those names? Do you know that the Rick's, what are they called? Rick's Travel or whatever, whatever that book is.
Rick Steves. Rick Steves.
Yes. You know, something like, I don't know where mine is. But sort of create something like this, you know, for your trip. Malena's, you know, guide, and it shows you basically, you know, the more, you know, landmarks and history and stuff like that, but just very concise, related to where you're going. Lots of things can be done there, you know, like create a map with the routes of what the places you're going.
That's true. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Maybe they, you know, the map also tells you where you can get transport. Restaurants around, of course, and whatnot, right? And what shows are going on. So this can be leveraged a lot. Like you get tickets. I can think of a lot of things. But anyways, we're sort of like beyond the time. But so how do you feel about this question? Was it hard?
No, I like it. I also feel like all the features that we've spoken about singles can definitely apply to families, just restricting them really. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that this type of question is kind of hard because there are so many type of users, right? So coming to a commonality is hard, but you know, Bumi, I think that you're right. Some of this can be translated definitely to families. But there are also other types of users like retirees. You know, they usually like to actually do guided tours, right? And go in groups because you know they carry the baggage and everything else, and we didn't talk about it, right? But you know that's another thing. But probably they're not as important as these people because I think retirees are not like looking into Facebook. I actually don't use either. I'm sort of like a retiree.
See, that's what I'm saying. Funny thing is, my mom and her friends have only just discovered Facebook. So even my in-laws, so they're very active on Facebook. And so, yeah, it goes to show that the demographic has actually moved with time. And they're in their 70s, 60s, 70s, and they're very, very, very active on Facebook. Like they post every day. And shout out happy birthday. So it might be, you never know. I guess it would be a good thing to sort of get the data of who's actively using Facebook now, what age group.
It's true.
Can I ask, so if we're doing an interview, after listing the use cases, do you just focus on one? Do you have to focus on one use case and then find a solution, or can you do more than one?
I think that you have to give your criteria really well. Like here, for example, right? And maybe the interviewer will tell you, because if there are too many use cases, you're not going to have time, right? But for example, here my criteria would have been, you know what, I want to focus on singles because I think couples with kids, you know, they're a lot more expensive. They're less likely to travel than singles that are in their 30s and 20s, which are very active Facebook users. So that's what I would have said. And then I would have said, okay, of all these use cases, you know what? I'm going to concentrate on these two. They seem to be, what is the criteria that they care about experience, right? The main pain point for single users is to have a, great experience and make sure that you have a great experience and do social connection. So I'm going to focus on this, and then I will go into bit into the solutions. But I think it's really important to provide your reasoning as to why you're using some, why you're going to focus on some use case, right?
Okay. Cool. Thanks.
And
all right,
could
guys.
be more than one use case as well. There could be a MVP to say, hey, we wouldn't want to launch anything unless you meet this basic criteria or certain use cases to make it valuable.
Yeah. So it is important that then you define, why those use cases are like really sort of like your base case, right? Sounds good?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming and participating.
Thanks. Have a good day.
Leila.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
I know.